Performance branding is built on 5 pillars that really allow marketing to align back to the business. And those are lifetime value driven audience segmentation, attribution rooted in incrementality, cross-channel strategy, marginal bidding, along with personalized content. And if you do all 5 of those things correctly, you can really ensure that you're spending your money against the right people, delivering them the right message, and actually moving them down the path to conversion to materialize in maximizing long-term profit. So if we dive a little bit deeper into lifetime value, it's really about understanding what drives the differences in lifetime value amongst different types of cohorts. Is it something about their age or their gender or their household income? Is it about what channel they came in on or what product or category they bought on their first purchase, or whether they purchased on sale during a promotional period or in full price? These are all just examples of variables that we want to understand about whether or not those drive predictive value over time. And if we can understand what drives differences in repeat rate or differences in margin rate and therefore differences in lifetime value, we can make sure that we're going after the right customers at the right price. Another pillar of performance branding is attribution. And when we talk about attribution, we really want to talk about it being rooted in incrementality. And if we're trying to do what's best for the business, the only thing we really care about are the things that drive tangible incremental value. In our business, there's so many different ways to track things and measure things that a lot of times people forget about what they're actually trying to optimize for, which is driving incremental lift, because there's so many different ways to attribute value, especially in things like last click, that will take credit for things that aren't necessarily incremental. So we really want to look at all of our media investments and our marketing channels through that lens of incrementality to make sure that we're moving money based on where we're getting true incremental impact to the business. Another pillar is channel strategy, and channel strategy is something that needs to be integrated. So you can't have individual channel strategies. You need to have a holistic cross-channel strategy. And when you think about cross-channel strategy, we're talking about really everywhere where you make major media investments. How do those channels support each other and impact each other? Meaning, how does that tie back to attribution and incrementality? But also, how do we make sure that we're speaking to consumers holistically? Are we reaching the right people in the right places at the right time with the right message? And this really will speak to creative as well when it comes to how we integrate creative in a way that's platform right. So if we're doing channel strategy correctly, every time somebody sees an ad from a brand, it should make sense for who they are, where they are in the consumer journey, and what platform they're on. And if you can do all 3 of those things correctly, then you really have a successful cross-channel strategy that is truly integrated. Another pillar of performance branding is marginal bidding. And marginal bidding is something that ties really closely back to incrementality as well as lifetime value, because that's where it comes down to where are we actually moving the money and what's driving those decisions. So if we're optimizing for lifetime value and we're looking at everything through the lens of what's incremental, the next step is how do we make sure that the next dollar is going to the next best place to allocate that dollar? A good way to think about this conceptually to understand whether or not you are doing marginal bidding correctly today is ask yourself whether or not it's possible for you to take $1 away from any part of your marketing program and put it back in somewhere else and achieve a better outcome. If you can do that, then you should obviously make that trade, and making that trade will move you farther along that efficient frontier curve to achieve true marginal bidding. Another pillar of performance branding is personalized content. And personalized content, as it sounds, is about making sure that your content resonates with the audience that you're reaching and is right for the platform they're on, along with where they are in their consumer journey. Cross-channel strategy and personalized content go hand in hand because you can't do really good cross-channel strategy without the right content, and you can't create the right content without taking into account where people are in their consumer journey and what channel that they're in. So these two really are very closely integrated, which is why our creative team and media teams are working hand in hand across all of our accounts. In personalized content, we want to make sure that we're testing things that will work in terms of evergreen, as long as testing things that we think will work for a specific demographic or a specific slice of the consumer market. And we can test that in those channels specifically to understand where that creative and messaging is working for a particular audience or for a particular channel.